All right, hey guys, we're here on the North Range today taking a look at the Gunsite Performance Pistol double stack 9mm. That's a lot of name for what's a lot of gun. I had the privilege of running this gun through our 250 class here, and I was very much impressed with the practical accuracy, the reliability, and just overall fit, finish, and all the attention to detail that went to this pistol. We're here with Dave Fink from Fink's Custom Gunsmithing, who creates this pistol specifically for Gunsite Academy, and it's the only place you can get it at Gunsite Academy. So Dave's going to walk us through all the specifics and the features on this gun from front to back and let us know what goes into making this thing tick.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we're pretty excited to launch this new product. We came out with the 5-inch version because we're seeing a lot of those come up here through class. So what we're trying to do is we tried to bring a gun that was affordable, very competitive in the market, but was yet still practical for some of the Gunsite classes that we offer up here. Some of the highlights that we like to showcase on these is going to be the mega porting that we do. So that helps reduce the felt recoil, the muzzle rise, and helps you stay on shot quicker and longer.
Yeah, I noticed the porting of this gun, definitely super soft shooting gun, really quick to return to target. Soft at recoil impulse, like just as a whole, it's very noticeable what that's doing to the gun. So from the back here, obviously we have the Gunsite special hammer right there that's for Gunsite. What else goes into the back end here as far as like the ambidextrous safeties and all that? Why'd you go with that versus single side? What kind of led you for the design features on this specific gun?
Great questions. So what's kind of cool is being part of Gunsite up here is our gunsmithing shop gets to see a lot of guns come through, and we get to see a lot of things that work for people and a lot of things that don't. So we took all the things that people have been upgrading and changing on their, the big name brand guns that they're bringing up here, and we applied it to a gun that's ready to go out of the box. So the first thing that you were talking about there is kind of the grip side. That was one of the biggest things, right? So the Cooper trifecta of a perfect fighting pistol: a trigger you can feel, sights you can see, and a grip that you can control. And that's one of the things that we did here. So we took a standard grip and we did a grip reduction. Part of that is it kind of gives a little bit more flexibility with people who have smaller hands. We also sensitized the grip safety, so that way if you do have a little bit of a fumbled grip, you're not going to have a dead trigger because the grip safety didn't disengage. It's pretty sensitive. So that's all good features.
Yeah, no, I did notice that. So I do have smaller little hands, like fat little sausage fingers, and for me, it was noticeable. Like I've just started getting to the double stack game, and on most of the grips out there, I do feel like it's a bit of a stretch for me. Like it feels a little bit bigger. I did notice that immediately it felt more comfortable in the hand. The texture obviously makes a big difference. And yeah, the grip safety, I had issues initially, transitioning to that platform, getting that safety engaged and being able to manipulate the trigger. Did not have that with this pistol going through my class. Like I said, I had no issues whatsoever. I was thoroughly impressed. So speaking of the trigger, really nice trigger, really smooth. The trigger shoe itself is a really cool design that I haven't seen much around before. What goes into that one?
So all of our trigger work that we do most of, it starts kind of in the 1911 side. A lot of guys had a duty trigger of about 4¼ pounds. That was kind of a good average start place. Now what we did with the performance pistol is most of the guys that are getting these, and gals, they've been shooting guns for a while. So they're kind of used to good triggers, and they expect a little bit better of a trigger. So we set all these triggers at 3¾ pounds. So it's a little bit lighter than our standard duty trigger, but it gives it a little bit more crispness for those long precision shots, a little bit crisper break, and so that's been a pretty big sell for a lot of folks, is that it's already got trigger jobs right out of the gate when they pick up this gun and go.
Yeah, it's noticeably better than most triggers that I've felt on 1911s, 2011s, anything in between. Optic platform on there, solid mount up. I didn't have any issues, nothing with it walking out or backing up like that. Is that something you guys do in-house, or are you guys using somebody else's parts for that?
Great question. So that is one that we are doing in-house.
Okay.
So we call it our Elite Battle Plate. It started when we first started getting into the double stack side. We looked around, we saw a lot of I should say most of the issues we see with optics on pistols is because of how they're mounted, and they're coming loose during class, and normally it's not the optic itself having the issue, it's the mount system. Yeah. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to run a full-size optic on this one. If you guys are familiar with our Gunsite service pistol double stack, it is a direct mounted optic. Now we don't have that option in this in particular setup because we wanted to run a full-size optic. So in order to get that full-size RMR style footprint, we have to run a plate. So what we did is we took a plate that was very simplistic. The rear sight is actually integral to the rear to that plate, so you don't have to worry about that rear sight coming loose. And then the plate itself is one piece, and it's got oversized screws that are drilled and tapped directly into the slide itself. Big giant force screws that are in there, and we've never seen them shear off or anything. So it's just kind of like just a duty style beefy plate that we put on.
So that's awesome. So then those screws, when they're properly tightened and torqued down, then you can witness mark those, and those are going directly in there. So you see when that walks off, if that does start to walk off, you know that it's or that it's secured or not. So I had an issue with another double stack that will remain nameless, where the optic was very secure to that plate, but the screws holding the plate to the pistol became loose, which you can't see because they're under the plate. So that's a great, awesome feature set that, once again, kind of goes to show the thought and this meticulous little, features and stuff that you guys made sure that was just right like that. That's awesome. Barrel style, the recoil spring assembly, what were the ideas to go into how you would do with that setup?
Yeah, good stuff. So this is technically our second iteration of this gun, and we're proud of. But so we've made some small changes. So the biggest change we made is we went to a bull barrel. A lot of the big name companies now are using the bull barrel design, especially when it comes to the porting side. We were starting to see with our bushing guns, the porting would get so fouling and deposit so much carbon on the barrel that it would slow everything down, and it kind of inhibited the longevity of the reliability if guys were wanting to run it dirty for long periods of time. So with the bull barrel design, it stays a little bit cleaner, a little bit cooler, and it adds a little bit more weight to help you stay on target and be a little bit more reliable. As far as the recoil system goes, Gunsite isn't a huge fan of full-length guide rod systems, so we played around with those. So what we did was we did a hybrid. We have what we call a 3/4 length guide rod. So we take a factory GI, if you can picture that. So when you take apart the gun, it pops right out. No tools required. Great, no problem. A lot of the newer companies are doing a toolless style guide rod system, which is still a full-length guide rod. And so what we opted to do is kind of do somewhat in between. So the 3/4 length guide rod sits inside the gun when you take it apart. It doesn't explode on you, but you can still take it out like a traditional system. And with it being a little bit longer, it helps keep that spring in there and keep everything aligned, so there's no additional vibrations in the gun when it goes off. Okay, so it's kind of an interesting little system.
Wow, that's cool. I noticed it was the the bull barrel, and I did notice the recoil spring was a little bit different, but yeah, I didn't break it down, really get too far into it. Like I said, I ran it through our 5-day 250 course, had no issues whatsoever. Issues with frangible, which every friggin' gun has that. But as a whole, like I said, I didn't clean it. I just put it in the bag, pull it the next morning, and reliability, the practical accuracy, everything about the gun, I was thoroughly impressed. Really appreciate you going through everything here, breaking it down for us. All right, so once again, a lot of features on here. Let's just go top to bottom, everything that goes into this gun.
All right, so you guys are familiar with our Gunsite service pistol, the double stack edition. We took that basic model and we added some features. So the first big thing that we did is we made it a 5-inch gun, made it a little bit longer, a little bit heavier. The grip size is going to be the same, the texture is still going to be the same. What we did add is an oversized ambidextrous paddled thumb safety, and so that's going to add just a little bit more control of the gun. The next thing that we did is we added a full-size optic, so it's got an RMR footprint. It comes shipped with a Holosun 507 comp installed and zeroed. Co-witness battle sights, black on black. Comes with porting, and we also have a full-length dust cover system that allows us to run a 3/4 length guide rod system. So with all of our GSPs, we still include all the traditional stuff like the match grade barrel, the match crowning, the match trigger jobs. The grip reduction is still done as well, so that grip's already going to be taken care of for you. We sensitize the grip safety, and we also still do the throat and reliability package on the barrels.
Once again, guys, this is a Gunsite Performance Pistol, double stack 9mm, only available at the Gunsite Academy Pro Shop.